just to start things off, John, can you just tell me a little bit about what you do and where you work?
I am the technical manager here at G&O Springs. So my job role is to help our customers with their spring inquiries. So advise technically on whether they're using the right materials, whether the spring is suitable for the application they want. And then I go out to market and draw up a quote for them. I also help internally with reading customer specs and ensuring that our quality system is up to date and compliant.
To get to where you are now, then, what sort of journey have you been on? Started at GCSE, you picked for GCSE, and what was sort of maybe your thought process back then, if you can remember?
Yeah,
And then
it's
what did you go?
going back a few years, but yeah, definitely.
and then what did you go on to afterwards, and how did you get into the position you are now?
So when I was at school, I was in the lower sets, not through lack of trying, but just because I have dyslexia, it sort of made things a little bit harder for me. So my GCSEs, I got around D's for most subjects, and then managed to get an A in IT, which was good. But during my school career, or my school time, they offered me a day release to college to get an MVQ level 1 in engineering, which was brilliant because I went there, I did that, I found out that I really enjoyed working with my hands and getting to know machinery and understand how it worked and things like that. So that sort of gave me a focus for where I wanted to go with my career. So after I did my GCSEs, I went out and looked for an apprenticeship in engineering, and I was fortunate to get a job here at G&O Springs at 16. I started as an apprentice dab maker, and I did an MVQ level 2 in engineering. Thankfully, when I first started here, the workforce was on the aging side, so they had loads of experience and they were willing to pass that on to me. So I had some of the best spring makers in the world teaching me how to make springs, and I did that for a good 10, 15 years. And I'm still helping out on the shop floor today. As this is a family-run business, there's lots of potential to grow within the company. Because I managed to keep my head down, they could see that I was very focused on what I was doing, working hard, and they offered me the heat treatment team leader role. From there, I was in charge of running the furnaces and a small group of 2 operators under me, as well as making the springs. I did that for a couple of years, and then from there I was promoted again into the spring production manager role. I only did that for a year when a new position became available here as the company started to expand and grow. There was a new technical manager role that was created, and I was put forward for that as well. And that's where I am today. I feel like I've been pretty fortunate in my career path, because it's as the business has grown, I've been able to step up through the company.
So you said that it's quite a sort of a family-run business there. Can you just
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about how you've sort of maybe enjoyed working for a smaller family-run business, than maybe going to work for a bigger organisation within the area? Maybe what's it like to work for a smaller company? Can you just tell me a little bit about what it's like?
Yeah, sure. So it's really nice working in a family business, because you get to know everybody, and you're not just some random employee who, the HR people don't really know who you are. The managing directors or the company directors don't really know you as a person. So they're a bit more flexible to your needs. So to give an example, when I first started here, I wanted to get my first aid training. I went to the managing director, and he supported me to get that, because he knew it was something I wanted, and he knew it would benefit him and the company. And then there's also the fact of pay as well. You're a bit more open with pay, I feel, and there's a bit more of a discussion there, rather than it being regimented and fixed for a global company.
Yeah, and it can be really enjoyable and really nice to work in a smaller company, especially when there's that sort of family environment there.
It is a lot more of a team, and a lot more pally as well. You can have a bit more fun within your working day. So I think within our handbook, it does say, you're allowed to have a laugh and a joke type thing. So I think there's, the one lunchtime, we caught up with all our work, so we had a game of football out the front, So
So you said that you did an apprenticeship in there, in a previous answer. How important was an apprenticeship to you, in sort of teaching you the ropes, if you like, that early work experience at such a young age, instead of potentially just going on and doing just a college course, or some people who are thinking about maybe doing A levels. What has that apprenticeship sort of given to you?
Yeah, so it's an apprenticeship for me. It gave me a real insight into not only the academic side of learning, but also the working environment. So I felt like it gave me a bit of a foot up on people going through just a college course or a university course, because I got to understand dealing with management and taking orders and making sure you're there on time, and the rules that go with work. And then the college side of it, that gave me the footing of my educational needs, not just in the specific company that you're in. So the two kind of married really nicely. And my college course gave me a broad understanding of engineering, and then whilst I was here at GNO, that really then focused me to what this company needed. So I really got the best of both.
Yeah, apprenticeships can be really, really valuable. And throughout sort of your career journey so far, and into the position you are now, have you sort of had any real skills that have been important to you? So you said you were really good with your hands, and not necessarily the most academic, but what sort of soft skills, and hard skills have you within your role? Maybe are those skills as well different to the skills that you had as an apprentice, and maybe as well, what skills did you develop as an apprentice, which have sort of helped you throughout your career journey?
So yeah, the skills developed as an apprentice was really the manufacture of springs. It is a real art form, and it's not something that you can just walk into. You have to develop it over time, how to hold the wire, how to manipulate it, and the understanding of the effects the material has. I also picked up lots of soft skills here. So I've been on time management courses, and chemical spillage courses, and things like that really opened up my understanding of everything that I can help out here within the company. There's just lots and lots of opportunities whilst you're when you've come out of an apprenticeship, really. If you work hard within that company, they can give you lots of opportunities. The skills that have been important to me now, learning how to deal with and talk to people. That is a really big skill to have, and it can really help get you along. I'm not the most personable person, so during my apprenticeship, being thrown into a company with lots of people really helped me develop those skills, because I had to go and get knowledge off of people. I had to go and talk to people who didn't know, to ask for help, and that sort of really helped me socially, and that really helps me now going to talk to customers, to drum up work, to go into places and tell them, well, no, you're not doing that quite right. You need to be doing this. And those skills really did help. And also from the mechanical engineering side of things, the understandings that I got from college during my basic apprenticeship can now really help apply to the design work that I do, that I might not have picked up just looking at springs. I can understand how the actual whole unit works, just not the small part of the spring plays.
Something that you sort of mentioned in there, John, is that potentially the sort of ability to ask questions. If a young person sort of starts an apprenticeship and they're maybe a bit nervous about asking questions, what would you say to a young person who, like I say, is a bit nervous about asking those questions and doesn't want to ask the wrong thing? How do you value the sort of the importance of people in apprenticeships asking questions?
You've really got to ask as many questions as you can. If you've got any doubt in your mind, you've always got to just double check. It's not going to harm. And the person you're asking, if they're a good teacher, won't mind you asking that question, because they want you to succeed as much as you want to succeed.
And on about good teachers as well, did you have anyone sort of on your career journey through your apprenticeship?
I had some brilliant teachers here. Thankfully, the managing director, he's brilliant, Steve. He's really taught me loads about spring design. And then I had about 3 or 4 spring makers on the shop floor who really took me under my wing and showed me everything that they knew. And they were brilliant. And they were the same. They always said, if you've got a question, you must ask it, because we want you to do well and we want you to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Asking questions is really important. So just reflecting back a little bit, maybe if a young person's in a sort of position as yourself and maybe gets a GCSE results that wasn't quite what they wanted, or isn't quite what they need to go on to the next thing that they want to do, maybe do the A levels or the college course, and they're looking at apprenticeships. If you could go back and have a word with your younger self, who may have been a little bit as well with the results, is there any sort of key bits of advice you'd give to your younger self that could potentially help a young person in a similar sort of position as you were back then?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say don't worry about it. There are so many options available out there. Sometimes you may not get the results you want, but you can still go in at a lower level of the company and work your way up. If you show that you are willing to learn and that you are a hard worker, the company will be a fool not to push you and to promote you through their business, and you will get to where you want to get to.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really good way to end. So thank you very much for joining me, John. And I think a lot of people in Worcestershire, and particularly young people, will take a lot away from that.
Brilliant. Thanks.